All right, everyone, I feel happy again because Buzzfeed has attacked 3 people in recent history, and 2 of those people are much wealthier than me and much more well-known, and those are Alex Jones and Scott Adams. So when I'm like the third wheel in Buzzfeed's recent hit pieces, that makes me feel pretty damn good about myself. When I'm mentioned in the same paragraph as Alex Jones, then they haul off to go after Scott Adams. Who again has done similar things to what I've been doing for some time. Now, of course, you'll know Scott Adams as Dilbert's creator. Most of you, well, actually, most of you, if you're on my channel, probably know him as that dude who predicted everything during the election, who isn't Styx Hexenhammer. No, I think he's a very smart individual. I like his work. I haven't read his books, but I've got to get around to it at some point. But Dilbert's a funny comic. He was right about the election, and a lot of people, they thought he was kooky. They basically thought he was a joke. He's saying that Trump will win. Trump won't even be the Republican nominee. And of course, then he became the nominee. They were holding on after. There were people that still didn't think he'd get it after Indiana. Super Tuesday comes and goes. Trump has, what was it, like 10 states to I think 5 total between all of his opponents at that point. I think Rubio had 1, and then Cruz got 4. So he's dwarfed all of his opponents combined, but oh, don't worry, we've got this. The establishment will strike back. It'll be Jeb out of nowhere. Now, Jeb drops out, and they're still hoping that it'll be Ted Cruz, who's not eligible, or Marco Rubio, who's apparently popping pills to get through the fucking debates. Can't even go up against Chris Christie. Yeah, like that was ever going to friggin' happen. I think, didn't he get like one other state? Rubio? I think he won Hawaii, if I remember correctly. But Scott Adams correctly guessed the outcome of the election. I can't remember whether he guessed individual states or not. I think he did put out a map. It was pretty accurate. I think it was similar to the one that I drew up, except I think that he actually got it right on Wisconsin, if I remember correctly. I think if I remember correctly, I called that one. It would still go for Hillary, and then of course it didn't. I think he had what state was it? I can't remember. I think he had Virginia going for Trump, if I remember correctly. So that's one actually that stayed blue, I think, for Hillary. But he did a great job. It was better than 99% of pundits. Better than 99% of pollsters. You know, kiss my ass Karl Rove mode, basically. Rachel Maddow can go wander off into the hills with Hillary and go eat roots and tubers like she did. She had that picture there where she was emerging from a walk in the woods and she was all like disheveled. The DPRK News Twitter made a very funny joke about that at the time. That was definitely one of the earliest things that convinced me I should be more active on Twitter was the DPRK News channel. Yeah, they should retweet this video, by the way. That'd be funny. I'll give you a shout out, New. You give me one. Give me the official blessing of Dear Leader, I guess. But here's the broader context. Scott Adams is not just disliked because he's backing Trump. That's an oversimplified explanation of why that would be. I think some of it boils down to, and the BuzzFeed article briefly mentioned something that appears to allude to this. He's a classically educated individual, a relatively wealthy individual, an individual who he has enough clout, not just politically, but his cartoon is popular. He's got enough fame and enough money to rub elbows with people who you would generally consider to be entertainers and celebrities. He has the ability, if he wants to meet with the governor, he can probably get on a short waiting list. In other words, he's a person with clout. He's a person with academic and fiscal clout. He's got persuasion in ways other than words, in essence. They see him as a traitor, the neoliberal sort of establishment. This includes neocons, but they're all the same thing. McCain, Kerry, fucking cares. It's the same thing. They do the same things. They see him as a traitor because they think, well, he's classically educated. He's like the ivory tower professional. He's supposed to side with us, with the beautiful people. We're supposed to sit around drinking our $100 wine bottles and looking down our noses at people that are drinking Bud Light, in other words. It is exactly the same mentality that we've seen consistently for several years in the lead up to the last election. It's also why the Democrats lost. Trump came out, and yes, part of it was, hey, he's willing to say what people want to hear. Another part of it is that's sort of who he is anyway. He's being authentic. He's always acted bombastic, off the wall, and insulted people. It's not, all he did was inject politics, and now he was doing it. It's no different than before. I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Adams had already met with Trump by now and knows a little bit of the inside story about what's going on. Scott Adams is good at persuasion too. You know, it's not just him buddying up to Trump or Trumpism. Another part of it is I think he genuinely likes Trump. I think that he looks at the way in which Trump operates. I call it the Shakespearean. I wrap it up in the occult and say this is a person who is a shapeshifter, a lycanthrope, in the not entirely cryptozoological sense, in the more metaphoric sense. He says, well, it's master persuader. He's basically hypnotizing people. He's essentially you're just using linguistic tricks of the trade in order to convince large numbers of people and outmaneuver and destroy his enemies. Doesn't really matter which explanation you favor, by the way. It leads to the same end result. Trump wins. We were right. The pundits were wrong. BuzzFeed was wrong. The New York Times was wrong. CNN was wrong. And they hate the fact that they were wrong. They got embarrassed by a bunch of average Joes, and they see him as a traitor for having been another person to embarrass them. They want him to be in the same boat as them. Shamefaced, red and embarrassed, licking their wounds, looking forward to how they can prevent the same thing from happening in 2020. All these people saying, well, Trump's never going to get reelected. Oh boy. Oh, no, I hope that nothing catastrophic does happen so that he does get reelected so these people can be embarrassed again. Because their tears were delicious. Scott Adams probably said, by the way, part of it for him is certainly a marketing campaign. There's no reason for him to stop weighing in on politics. Why the hell would he want to do that? Look, he's got all sorts of fans that they don't necessarily like Dilbert. Maybe they do, but he's not making maybe as much money as that. They'll buy his book. They'll say, wow, he's right about all of these things. He has all these interesting insights. And he keeps weighing in on politics. By the way, when BuzzFeed attacks somebody, it's not bad for that person. It's just a hyper-partisan tabloid rag. They're like the fucking political aim of the Weekly World News. That's all that BuzzFeed is. They're a second-tier outlet. They're part of the missing link media. They're not fully independent. They're also not old guard in the sense of being like multinational, multi-billion backers. There's sort of in the middle of the two. They're the weakest of all. Even compromised and corrupted independent commentators can make mincemeat out of BuzzFeed. They have the centrality of old media without any of the benefits of independent media. Essentially the worst possible platform. So BuzzFeed comes out and they seem to have made their mark. Defaming people, basically. Well, they defame me, they defame Alex Jones, they defame Scott Adams. They call him an MRA. Okay, so how is this an insult? Again, because MGTOW, yeah, that's out there. That's certainly an extreme angle. MRA's not. The mildest form of men's rights activists, all they want is judicial reform. They don't hate females at all. On the other end, you get extremism, but that's like the difference between a suffragette and a post-third wave radical feminist. Trans-exclusionary is, I guess, the new term thrown in there for some reason or something. There's a big difference between the two. Yes, they're under the same umbrella. It's one big fucking umbrella. And so there's not really that much similarity between them. I'm not seeing how that actually insults him. By the way, because he's good at persuasion, he's going to come out, he's going to turn this into a positive thing for him anyway. BuzzFeed doesn't fucking know who it's dealing with lately. They keep attacking people that are their superiors. Yes, definitely, Scott Adams is the intellectual superior of anybody at BuzzFeed. Alex Jones would make mincemeat of anyone from BuzzFeed. And Alex Jones does the thing where he does like the goofy entertainer shtick, too. And by the way, a lot of that is Shakespearean as well. Why do you think he fucking does well? I'm their superior. Absolutely. Yes, I'm superior to BuzzFeed. Then again, people with like 10 subscribers are, so I'm not exactly tooting my own horn with that one. But, I mean, come on. Scott Adams gets it right for an entire year, while all the pundits are wrong. I think the number of people who got it right is very, very small. Okay, here's the group of people who are right about the election early and often. Scott Adams, Mark Dice, I think Crowder was a border, Molyneux, Cernovich, and myself. It's not many people. There weren't a lot of people who were early and often liking Trump. They got demoralized. I saw it over and over again. Oh, the Democrats will steal this. Democrats will rig the polls. Democrats will rig the voting machines. The Democrats will, have Trump knocked off and it'll be Pence running. They had all these. There was still one person swore up and down even after Super Tuesday that Ben Carson would be the nominee. That it was going to be, Jesus said it would be Ben Carson. One dude who did like remote viewing bullshit, he's like, well, I know that Jeb will be the next president. I know because I've already seen the boardroom meeting where they were meeting together. And I called bullshit at the time and of course, got flack for it. It's like, well, you're just jealous you can't astrally project, Sticks. No. Was he really astrally projecting? Funnily enough, none of his subscribers unsubscribed or called him out for the moron he was thereafter. He was a fucking moron. He's not astrally projecting. He doesn't know anything about the occult. Yeah, when people are dumb and they make dumb predictions and they say dumb things and then they defame people because they're so embarrassed thereafter, it's like the funniest thing ever. It's like, you know, fucking how many pillars of salt are you going to generate over there at Buzzfeed? That's all you're doing. You're just attacking people who were right when you were wrong because you're jealous of them. You're hateful towards the alt media because we're taking your audience away, because we're younger, we're more efficient, and we're more fair. Honestly, we tell the truth as opposed to your bullshit lies. Then you start attacking any maverick. It's like Shania Twain. Look what happened to her. Now she's essentially a B-lister at this point. Okay, one-time hit maker in the fucking late 90s. Now, when's the last time you heard of Shania Twain, really? Not so much. She comes out and says the wrong thing. Oh, yeah, I think I would have voted for Trump. People go apeshit. She has to do like a 5-tweet apology. She shouldn't have apologized, by the way. She said, fuck you. I'm going to say what I want. She would have earned more respect if she had. Kanye, though, I will say this on the celebrities weighing in on politics thing. I don't care about his political views. The whole Kanye 2024, lay off of it. That's bullshit. Kanye is good at marketing, and that's exactly what he's doing. Trust me, he's going to make money hand over fist by inserting himself into the political situation. By the way, it's exactly what Trump wants. I'll tell you why. Over time, any celebrity or person that weighs in on politics and does the yes, Trump can be okay thing, they generate the outrage, they get all the attention, they get into the news for days and days. As long as they don't back down, they can keep hitting that same sore spot in the establishment and they make money. And they get attention doing this. More and more of them are going to keep doing this. You're going to see steadily over time the old guard of celebrities, political sort of, elbow rubbers, that sort of class of people, they're going to come back to Trump. They're going to be saying, wow, look at all the money I've made by endorsing Trump. You know, even if it was a joke at first. Wow, I made $1 million. Fuck you. Yeah, they're going to make money off of it. They're going to get attention off of it. It's free publicity. Can't be bad. That's the way to do showbiz. Trump's doing it. Scott Adams, I think, understands this. Look, he's doing the same thing fundamentally. He knows that if he continues weighing in on these things, especially if like Kanye is tweeting out Scott Adams' video, he's going to get a lot of attention. What does attention mean when you're self-marketing? It means money. There you go. It's as simple as that. That's why Trump probably wins in 2020. People are not going to... The clickbait is like heroin to people. Even if it's an attack piece on Trump. And Trump will deflect every attack piece while ingratiating himself to those who say, hey, Trump is a good guy. It's a little bit mafioso, yeah. And by the way, other politicians have done this too. It's not, don't pretend it's just Trump being a tyrant or Trump being like a dictator. No, bullshit. Clinton used to do this. Bubba Bill, famous, he would do this. He did the smooth thing. He'd schmooze and give you a hug if you gave him good words. If you didn't, your career was endangered. It was a problem. There's a real mafia White House. Go back to the 90s if you want to see almost a dictatorship. Not really a dictatorship, because Hillary had equal power at that point, which is why all the problematic policies came to light. That's why he got caught up in the scandals. Maybe Clinton was the squeaky wheel giving away the axle problem the whole time. But yeah, Scott Adams. I don't find him extremist. Now, of course, BuzzFeed thinks I'm an extremist, so they don't care about my opinion. But the only reason they're saying this is to make money. They're jealous of him. They're jealous of the alt media. They're jealous of alternative entertainment. They're terrified of the communications age. The same web that allows them to promulgate a site, a site that gets them so much attention, is now letting people who, they don't even need a studio. They don't even need a staff. At most they have maybe a part-time manager or a lawyer on retainer or something, like a Warski setup. Some semi-pro setup. It's much more efficient than what BuzzFeed has to do. And look at the kind of money that some of these streamers are making. It's like, yeah, super chat's a great thing. By the way, why can't I have super chats on streams without having to do like the AdSense shuffle thing? Like, why do I have to have monetization enabled and have like this second overlapping bullshit? And I think that inserts ads even if you don't actively monetize or something. Someone's gonna have to help me. I'm gonna have to talk to Andy or something about that. Can I take super chats without doing that other stuff? Because, I mean, why not? You know, I don't really stream anyway. It'd be funny if I could, though. Yeah, do a super chat stream. Maybe try it, see what happens. I'm not that comfortable with it. I prefer to sell books, but, you know, whatever. It is an interesting alternative to ads. I will say that, and YouTube takes a cut. It is sort of like a one-time donation thing, like you'd get on a Maker Support. By the way, I am still on Maker Support. Again, some people are trying to say, well, they're a scam or what. I don't see it. I don't see any evidence of that yet. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and time because, trust me, young companies have this problem. They give you a very optimistic date of when something will be done, and then they realize it's going to take a lot longer. And then they sort of clam up and they don't want to talk about it because they're trying to hurry as much as they can to fix it. I think that's what happened in Maker Support. I don't think they're scamming anyone because I paid out before there with no problems. So I respectfully disagree with like Tree of Logic and a few others. But yeah, that's the larger context of the attacks on Scott Adams. It's mostly about money, but I think they feel personally incensed. I think people that they want him to come to them to give an interview. Instead, he just puts out his videos for free for people to see. Well, he's a traitor. You know, instead of backing Clinton and saying, oh, well, I was wrong. You know, a lot of people that did the MAGA thing have jumped off the Trump train, visibly, and because it was always a campaign strategy for them to make money, basically. Scott Adams is like, screw it, who cares? And also he understands that Trump is doing well, and doing far better than his opponents are giving credit for. I'm telling you, people who are taking their bets off of Trump, you're doing it prematurely. Give him a little bit more time and we'll see what happens. Wait till after the midterms. That's about all. Peace out.